Welcome to Sci-Fi Short Stories. Please subscribe. Your one click truly means everything to me. Thomas Garrett didn't want a daughter, not because he didn't love his own. He'd adored Sarah, his human daughter, with every fiber of his being. But Sarah had died 8 years ago, taken by a fever no medicine could cure, and the pain of that loss had hollowed him out. He'd learned to exist in the emptiness, to move through days without feeling too much. Then the Ze Queen appeared at his door with a bundle wrapped in silver cloth. "I'm told you are a man of honor," Queen Vertessa said, her 4 eyes studying him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "I am told you keep your word even when it costs you greatly." Thomas didn't know how she'd learned this about him. Didn't know why a queen would care. "The child I carry is not as others of my kind," Vertessa continued, her mandibles clicking in what might have been distress. "Her coloring is wrong. Her eyes lack the proper luminescence. The court physicians say she will never be beautiful by Zeth standards. My husband demands I dispose of her. Our people have traditions for such things." Thomas felt his chest tighten. "I cannot keep her," Vertessa said simply, "but I will not destroy her. So I am asking you, will you take her? Raise her as your own. The alliance between our species depends on your answer. But more than that," she paused, and for the first time, Thomas heard something almost like hope in her voice. "More than that, I believe you will see her as I do. Not as a disappointment, as a miracle." Thomas opened his mouth to refuse. He had no experience with alien biology, with raising a child at all. Sarah's mother had done most of that. He was just a grieving man who fixed spacecraft engines and lived quietly in the colony's outer district. Instead, he found himself saying, "What's her name?" Kira Vertessa said, "She's 3 cycles old. In human years, approximately 5. The Queen placed the bundle in his arms and left without another word. The first months were chaos. Hero was terrified of him, of his soft skin, his weak frame, the fact that he only had 2 eyes instead of 4. She screamed when he tried to feed her the food Vertessa had provided. She refused to sleep in the bedroom. Thomas had prepared. But Thomas had learned patience watching his daughter die. Healy earned it again with Kira. He sat with her in the dark when she had nightmares. He didn't try to force affection, just presence. When she rejected the traditional Ze food, he researched her physiology obsessively until he figured out what her developing body needed. He braided her hair, if he could call the delicate crystalline structures growing from her scalp hair, when she showed him how. Weeks passed, then months. One morning, Kira climbed in his lap while he was drinking coffee and didn't leave. She stayed there for an hour asking questions about Earth, about humans, about why his eyes were so small. Thomas answered every question seriously, as if they mattered because they did. "Am you ugly?" she asked suddenly. Thomas sat down his coffee. This was the moment he realized, the one that would define everything. "Do you know what I see when I look at you?" he said gently. "I see someone brave, someone who was brought into a scary place and chose to stay. I see someone with a unique beauty that other people don't understand yet. Maybe they never will, but that doesn't make it less real." He took her delicate hand in his rough one. "When my daughter Sarah was born, the doctors said she had something wrong with her heart. They said she wouldn't live past a week, that she was broken. But Sarah lived for 17 years. And in that time, she changed the world just by being herself. She was beautiful, because she was alive and loved and real, just like you." Kira was quiet for a long moment as she leaned against his chest and fell asleep. Years passed. Kira grew into a young woman who was genuinely beautiful. Not by Zest standards, not by human standards, but in the way that only a truly loved person can be. She was confident, kind, and utterly secure in who she was. She studied human engineering alongside Ze philosophy. She made friends among both species. When Vertessa visited years later, now allowing her unusual daughter back in her life, she found Thomas and Kira in the workshop arguing good-naturedly about spacecraft maintenance. "You were right," Thomas was saying. "I did see her as a miracle, but not because she's Zeth or human or anything in between. Because she's Kira, The queen watched her daughter throw her arms around the human man's neck, laughing. And for the first time, Vertessa understood what her former husband never could, that true beauty wasn't measured by appearance, it was measured by love. And Thomas Garrett had loved Kira completely the moment he chose.